let's do a little prognosticating, and let's start. What, that made you laugh?
What kind of word was that to start us off?
We're going to dive into the draw.
I'm ready. Bring it.
And let's start with the WTA draw. I'm down a break.
Yeah.
Because, you know, what happens, I don't have my readers, and, like, it's a small font.
Yeah.
So I'm a breakdown, but I'm willing to, you know.
You're going to chisel it out.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to grind back.
Good.
All right. What do you see in the women's draw? Anybody jump out to you that you feel is making a deep run, and who you like winning this tournament?
Okay, Petch and I did the draw out there. That top half of that
I
draw.
saw you. That took an eternity, by the way. Did you get paid by the word?
I did not. I need to talk to somebody. Jeff, are you around? I will speak to you. But I blame Carolyn, the WTA supervisor. She was a little slow on the polls, but I think that top half is just so stacked with Sabalenka, Anisimova, Coco Gauff, Jasmine Paolini. So I'm going bottom half is going to come through because that's just going to be such a bloodbath. I'm going to go Rybakina. I think Rybakina has won here before. I think she's always a tough opponent out there on the hard courts. And I think after coming off of Australian Open, are we forgetting she just won the last Grand Slam? What about you, Petch?
I'm definitely not forgetting it. No, not a chance. I'm really interested in the conditions.
Should we keep you away because you got Emma?
No.
All right.
I'm in. I'm interested to see how, especially the first couple of days here, you know, how the conditions play in match. It's one thing to be in practice, but with a different ball here, I'm very interested to see who this is going to sort of suit. You know, Jess Pegula has played pretty well here in the past. Actually, you know, she's made some deepish runs through to the semis. I'm actually thinking confidence goes a long way in conditions like this, which are very different. That actually, if you come into this tournament and you're feeling good about your tennis, I think you can shunt some of the uncertainties and the intangibles to one side because you feel good about your tennis. So if I'm going to pick one, it's also coming from the bottom half. It's going to be Pegula. BG?
I'm kind of with you guys. I feel like the Rybakina Pegula quarter. And if they play each other in the quarters, I feel like the winner of that potentially is going to win the tournament. I think, you know, Swiatek has a tough quarter too. I think the easiest quarter, Coco's got a very good quarter. I think this is an important tournament for her to do well. Didn't do that well in these tournaments last year. It's obviously all about her serve. But it kind of interesting, too, that Sabalenka has never won here either. But I do feel like that is the toughest, you know, section by far with Anisimova. You got Osaka and Boko. You got your girl in there, Emma. That thing is loaded. So if Sabalenka can come through that section, she will be loaded. But I think we will get an unseeded player in the semis. Oh. We've had a lot of chalk so far in the women's. We haven't had that many surprises other than, was it the girl that won before Doha was a big surprise. But I do feel like we will get an unseeded semifinalist. I'd like to see maybe a young American. Jovic is in a tough section there in that top half, but like to see a young American, and I'm predicting at least one unseeded makes a deep run.
At what section do you see that breaking open?
Ooh.
I'm giving you the hard questions because you threw out that unseeded. We gotta really knuckle this down, Brad, because you always say.
Well, what about Peyton?
Peyton, she just won Austin.
Yeah.
That's a good call. But that's completely different conditions from Austin to coming to here. I don't see Peyton being that player for me. But I'm going.
This
Brad.
section, I feel like somebody could be a surprise.
The Schneider and Paolini section.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm seeing something in there just jumping out. But I feel like potentially in the Gauff section. I mean, even though that is the best section, but I feel like that's the most opportunity. And I feel like that top section is loaded.
Well, we have some good players. Paula Badosa is in there. You got Yulia Putintseva. She's one of those players that can always be a little bit tricky because she's just such a freaking nightmare.
She's got to be Petkovic's favorite because doesn't she like the drama and like the craziness? Putintseva, like you go watch her. She's the king of the blow-by handshake. And she can do some crazy antics out there.
She's a class of her own. But
you're just brushing brushing her off.
I'm brushing her off for sure.
Did you have some dust-ups with her?
Oh yeah, I did.
I think the question is who she didn't have. So I think
Potapova in that section, she's always a very tough one to play. Jasmine Paolini. I see Jasmine Paolini as a high seed falling early.
Yeah.
I don't think she's played well at all this year. I think she's one of those seeds that is, if you're going to face a high seed, that's the kind of the high seed that you're like, okay, I'm not terrified or as nervous. I have a chance out here if you're facing Jasmine Paolini. But I really, Petch, I want to deep dive. I know it's your girls' quarter, but that's what we've been talking about. The Sabalenka quarter and all the way to Anisimova. That could be the matchup in the quarterfinals, unless Emma has something.
That's a group of death section. So many good players in that section.
It's absolutely. Where do you see a good matchup coming early in the tournament?
Where do I see a good matchup coming early in the tournament? I mean, I think if Alicia Parks gets out there against Sabalenka in her first match back since playing in Australia and starts putting serves in there, it could get interesting. I mean, you've got to have weaponry going in against these big players. I think Sakari against Frontek obviously just beat her recently in the Middle East. She's had some good battles with her in the past.
And she's, you know what, right now, a little bit like Sinner. She, gone a few tournaments without winning. So I feel like players all of a sudden sense an opportunity when players are winning everything, like when she was winning everything, you go out there with like, okay, maybe it's not going to happen. But I feel like Iga now, players are feeling like, okay, I can rush her to the forehand. So I'm going to be interested to see how she's going to do here after pulling out in Dubai.
No, she's super attackable. But I think my biggest question marks are at the defending champ, Mira Andreeva. She's got a lot to answer. Had a great run in the Middle East, making the semifinals.
How those 1,000 points feeling?
It's a lot of pressure that just came off of her shoulders, but she's got to make up for it. And she doesn't have an easy road. Peyton Stearns could be a potential second round coming off of the victory in Austin, and then has a sneaky Svitolina if the seeds go through. That is not an easy matchup. She took the L there in Australia against Svitolina. So I think Mira Andreeva, those 1,000 points are looking scarier and scarier.
I'm curious, did either one of you, back in the day, before we had a computer, I'd get the draw when I was playing. I literally would
you fill it out?
2 draws. 2 draws.
Brad, I'm going to just burst your bubble a little bit. I never played without computers being able to print the draws.
I'm going to tell you about my 2 draws. So one, literally every day I would fill out the results.
Okay.
And then maybe when I would lose, I would rip that one up. But then I literally would make predictions okay, how the bottom section is, who maybe I was going to play. That's how crazy I was. It was like, okay, I'm not afraid of looking at who do I think if I win 2 matches, who's going to be there.
That's good because, I mean, it builds you a wealth of data because you'll remember it because you've written it down.
And then if I won a tournament where you had filled out.
Have you got those at home? Have you got them framed?
I kept everyone. I have no idea where they are now, but back in the day.
The silliest question you've ever asked, Petch. Does he keep a record of this? I mean,
I don't have them anymore.
He doesn't know where they are. They're like as you walk in his hallway. They're all just framed on the right.
But I did. I don't know. Maybe the wife's got them somewhere in the storage bin. But that used to be a fun thing. Yeah. Like I'd do my draws. Like I love the draw.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get back to the men's draw, Brad. You'll be filling out a lot of draws this week. I'm looking forward to seeing the ones that you're going to put together. Listen, obviously, everyone's eyes are going to drift to the top of the page with Alcaraz, but he potentially has a very tricky match in the second round if he gets up against Grigor. Dimitrov, Atman is the person that Grigor's going to take on first. But I mean, that's not an easy one out of the blocks, is it, Coco?
No, I don't think it's easy, and it doesn't get easier from there. Render Kanesh is potentially the first seed that he's going to see.
The cousins are in that section, right next to each other.
Big serving here. I mean, we had Sebi on, and that's what he said. If you can serve big and get some momentum, this place is the one place that can really accentuate that. And Render Kanesh is one of those players that he starts serving big, it takes the rack out of your hands. You can't even play
your way. They're like a throwback. They like serve straight up, stiff legs, like the cousins.
It's the most awkward service motion. I personally dislike it. You can hate on my ball toss. I'm hating on that front-facing service motion.
That's how guys used to serve in the 70s and 80s.
It looks bizarre. It looks bizarre. The other ones that I'm noticing around here is I think my favorite matchup that I'm going to see is where Novak Djokovic ends up. I think Novak, you got to always look at Novak. And he has a tricky one if Petchey Perry card Giovanni, if he can get through that first round, big server like that against the best returner.
That guy's one of those guys that like is more dangerous playing somebody good than playing somebody at 400 because he literally can't break. So yeah, that's not exactly a fun guy to start off with. And you know who I circled because we talked about Mira having 1,000 points coming off, and Draper. 1,000 points coming off and it's barely played. So you feel that that's going to be a tough one. And what about Medvedev, who finally wins his – he's not Marco Solo. He's finally now won a tournament twice, Dubai. He had to get a retirement. The guy couldn't play in the final.
That could open up for Fritsch and Leheshka. But I want to go back to Draper because I think that second round for Jack Draper, either playing Batista Agut or Fabian Marozsan, both of those guys are just steady baseliners. They're not going to overwhelm Jack. And for me, that kind of matchup playing in a second round, getting your feet wet again, is a great momentum builder. If you can get those reps from the baseline and be like, okay, my legs are here, I'm ready to go. And also, any lingering injury woes that you are feeling, can I trust the shoulder? Is it going to hold up? Those types of players test it because they keep making you play out there. And I think that'll be a good momentum, whether he can get through Novak, which is the high seed at the top of his quarter.
I think he's got to worry about
Cerundo. Yeah, I was just going to say, when we asked Sebi Korda, he goes, his favorite guy was Dane Sweeney.
Yeah.
For me, like that guy, I kind of like to watch because he's got a slingshot forehand. It's the Cerundolo bros. Yeah. That guy, it doesn't look like, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, it's zooming. So I do like to watch him courtside because he kind of fascinates me the way he can crack the ball. But I do like the Fritz section there at the bottom. I think it's a good opportunity.
You like Mickelson potentially taking out Humbert if he gets through in these conditions?
That would be very tough.
Rattle and Humbert?
What kind of quote was that? Where is that from?
Oh, come on. You don't know Rattle and Hum?
No, Brad.
Did that? No,
U2, yeah, is she not a U2 fan?
That's a little bit pre-me. I'm born in December '91, Brad. I'm sorry. I mean, as far as I go in the depth of music, Brad. This is why I keep you young out here. And
yeah, I threw you for your loop. Remember with Andrew Johnson and then Jack Kennedy, the president's names.
I was like, what are you doing? But that's constantly when I sit next to you, Brad.
I'm waiting for Mickelson. Honestly, I feel like that. You know,
because I like that matchup for him because he's a lefty into that backhand.
I feel like the last 2 years he's kind of been stuck in neutral. I thought he would actually have made a move like Tien's made, maybe even further. But that's what the tour can do to you when you get consistently not deep runs. You know, where Seb said it about you can go in that dark rabbit hole. That's the tough part of the tour. So I do expect that at some point he'll be a top 20 player, but I'm surprised it hasn't happened already.
All right, BG, I need a prediction from you. We've gone through the top half.
Okay, we'll get to the bottom half of the draw.
Yeah.
Sinner's gone 2 tournaments, not making a final. And I feel like looking at his section, very tricky section, but it's Sin City time. Okay. Never made the final here, lost twice in the semi. So I'm circling on my draw, Sin City. Is coming good here. He got here literally as soon as he lost in Dubai. So I think he'll be a man on a mission here. And, knowing Darren, they'll be tinkering with the
Tinkerman.
Yeah, they will with strings and everything about the balls from night to day. Nothing will be, no stone unturned. So Sinner is my pick. And I do think we will have a surprise. Make a deep run here in the quarters. Maybe somebody that I didn't see that coming because I kind of like that.
Yep.
Makes the tournament fun.
Always makes it fun.
Yeah.
Patch, who do you have?
I'm going with Ben Shelton. I'm going with Ben for making the run here.
He's in the same quarter as Sinner. How many sets in a row has he lost there?
Well, don't mic drop like that, Brad.
It's a lot, but it's going to change at some point.
I like that.
It's going to change at some point, and I feel as though he's the type of player that's going to like take those knocks and he's going to take them on positively. I feel as though he can move the ball here in a way that you can't necessarily move it in other areas, in terms of the serve, to be able to jump it, get it out of Yannick's kind of hit zone to some degree. Listen, it's a tall order. There's no question about it.
So you're going a second straight lefty winning this title?
I am. That's where
I
I'm
think
going, yeah.
Coco, and I think the best section, if I was in a section, I'd want to be in this Musetti-Zverev quarter, because Musetti hasn't played since Australia with his injury.
But there's a couple of dangerous players. You got Tiafoe, you got Caboli, who's had great runs. You have Nakashima, who is always a bit
a San Diegan.
He's a San Diegan,
Stay
but
classy.
he's always kind of around. And Zverev is kind of I always
Who's
like
your
the
pick?
bridesmaid. Oh, my pick. This is gonna shock the world.
No way.
Right now.
You're not going to go there.
I'm going to agree with Brad and go Sinner, because I never want to agree with Brad. I think he's.
I thought you were going to come up with some shocking pick, but we're going chalk.
It's shocking because I'm agreeing with you. That's
All right,
why
so
it's
just
shocking.
for the record, because I want to write it down so that when we have our final take. So you're going with, on the women's side?
I'm going with, I'm waffling a little bit, but I feel like Pegula, Rybakina section.
I thought whoever
Whoever
Brad,
It's a
wins
prediction.
that,
It's like one or none.
who wins that section wins the tournament. So
Brad, you're going to be defaulted just on that.
I'm going to
alone.
go with the first two pages of both these draws, and whoever gets through that is going to win the tournament. All right, you got to give me a name, Brad.
Okay.
You got to give me a name.
all right, I'll go Jay Pegula.
Okay, Jay Pegula, and you're going to go Sinner. Okay.
For me, I'm going to go Rybakina, and
Okay.
I'm going to go Sinner.
Okay, so I'm Pegula and I am Shelton. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is it for the Big T podcast. Don't forget, you can watch all the Indian Wells coverage on Tennis Channel, on the Tennis Channel app. And of course, you can get that all for the remarkably low $77 at the moment.
Is that $6.50? That's like $6.50 a month.
And also, don't forget, come Monday, you can see us live here. We'll be out there on the grounds doing this live, and you can watch me just mentally destroy Petchey and then maybe see if we can get to an agreement again, Brad.
You'll spend more in California on a cup of coffee.
What Coco doesn't know is that she's getting replaced by Chris Eubanks
Can't wait.
for the next 2 weeks after her showing today. But she will be here, of course, for the next 2 weeks. BG, thanks for your presence. It's
Pleasure.
been awesome having
Good
you
luck
company.
on the multitasking.
Thank you very
Yeah.
much. Looking forward to that. And thank you for listening to the Big T podcast.